Hello, in this video I'm going to show you some changes of my game engine that I've been doing for the last year. So firstly, I made this realization system. Right now I can save and load scenes, and it's really comfortable now to test different things. I use YAML library for this, and I use Windows 32 API for interacting with files. For example, I load this scene to demonstrate some features. As you see right now, this scene isn't so pretty, so I can turn on the bloom effect. Finally, I got it to an appropriate state. It's still not so beautiful as the churn has, but anyway. The bloom effect has many options. Pixels to blur is how many pixels we blur in a shader, the more the better quality of the bloom we get. Step is a step in pixels between each pixel to blur. Blur passes is how many times we draw an image to blur, and the more the better quality we get as well. It's kind of the same with pixels to blur. Bloom exposure just increase the brightness of the main image. Brightness is a threshold when our pixels start to be taken into a frame buffer. Gamma just increase the brightness of the main image as bloom exposure does. Intensity increase brightness of the bright pixels. Also, I add shadows. Z near and Z far are obvious parameters for a projection matrix. Zoom is just a scale parameter for a projection matrix, so the bigger, the more shadows we get, but quality is worse. Texel size is a texel size for a PCF parameter. It enables soft shadows. PCF range is how many pixels of a shadow will be smoothed. Bias is an important parameter because if it is set to 0, then we have shadow acne. So we need to find a balance, so I think 0.001 is a good one. The more bias we set, the bigger part of shadow we lose. Wasting time for a while, I added billboards. So right now sprites have a parameter called billboard. It means that this sprite will always face the camera, so I use this feature for displaying lights like this. I added async loading of 3D models and textures. Of course, this is not the best possible way to do this, but this is all I can invent by myself. The concept is simple. 3D meshes or textures are loaded on the different thread, and when I wanna get an access to it, I just add my request into a pool, and when any texture or mesh is loaded, it checks whether this mesh or texture has the same name as in my request or not. So if it is, then it just applies to my game object. So this is the function for getting an async loaded texture. First parameter is an ID of the request. It can be any number. The second parameter is a pair of a lambda function, which takes the expecting texture, so we just need to assign it. The second parameter of the pair is a file path of the texture. It's pretty easy, isn't it? At least for me it's comfortable. I added a simple particle system in 3D space. It's a component that can be added to any game object. It has many different parameters like amount, this is the number of particles, and then we need to press a neat button to create them. Direction sets the velocity of each particle. Speed is a scalar value to velocity. Pause is the start position of each particle, and so on. Finally, I made possible to use different textures in an instance in renderer, and just a little showcase. As you see, all of these cubes are an instance in renderer, so I think it works fine. That's not all what I've done, of course. There are a lot of small changes, but anyway I wanted to show you the biggest ones. So, this is the end of the video. Have a good day. See you in the next one.